Hi there, students. This is your instructor. I'm Heather Keller-Giltner, and if you're watching this video, that means that you are lucky enough to be in class with me this semester in English 102, Rhetoric and Composition 2, and it also means that I'm lucky enough to have you as a student. So I'm excited that you're in my class this semester, and I really look forward to helping you grow as a researcher and as a writer this semester. So the welcome video that I put together is really intended to help you acclimate to what this course is, what our policies are, what you should expect from me as an instructor, and to also answer probably a lot of the questions that you will have up front about the class. I will try to use the slides that I've prepared really to guide me through this conversation and to keep me on task. I don't want to babble. I want to keep this helpful and concise and short. And so before we begin, you may want to pause this video so that you can print out a copy of the syllabus if you haven't done so already. You can find that document in course modules. There's the first module that's all the way up at the top. When you open all of our modules in Canvas, you'll see a course documents module. So if you look at that, you'll see the syllabus and lots of other helpful documents underneath. I'll give you a tour of that in this video, but you may want to print out the syllabus so that you can jot some notes or circle some things or highlight some things as we walk through it together in the video. You may also have some questions and you could jot those down and then shoot those to me in an email or a message in Canvas so that I can get back to you and make sure we're all on the same page as we get started. But I'm going to aim for this video to be under 30 minutes long. We'll see how I do. And in the meantime, pause this video to print out your items that you need or grab something to take notes with, maybe a beverage and a snack, and we'll go ahead and get started. So let me share my screen with you. I want to, here we go. Okay, so now you're seeing me and my screen, and let me pull up my slides, and actually this rarely goes the way that I think it will. I need to talk myself through this once in a while. All right, let's see if I can show you the slideshow and me at the same time. No, it doesn't like that. What about if I do this? Okay, I can work with this. All right, this is kind of weird. Let's see, let's make me a little bit bigger. All right, I'm also having issues figuring out where to look. I'm looking at you, I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking at you, I'm looking at my notes. Anyway, we'll figure this out together. All right, so welcome to class. Welcome to English 102, Rhetoric and Composition 2 at John Wood Community College. I'm your instructor. I'm Heather Keller-Giltner. I think I'm listed on your course schedule as Heather Keller, which is funny because everybody likes to think about Helen Keller, and actually that's the name of my stepmom, Helen Keller. But anyway, I really prefer to be called Professor Keller-Giltner or Professor HK. You'll see that whenever I send correspondence to you, messages, comments on the work that you're doing in class, that's usually how I will sign my work, and my correspondence to you is Professor HK. Keller-Giltner is kind of a mouthful, but you'll find throughout the course that I'm a big netiquette person. I really like classroom manners to be displayed all the time, and it's no different here with us in a virtual classroom environment than it would be if we were engaging together in a seated traditional course. So what I say about netiquette really is pretty straightforward and simple. When it comes to writing messages to me or to other students in class, if you're responding to their discussion posts, if you're sending me a message, I really like for us to engage one another with polite greetings. So, hello, professor, don't just send me an email without a greeting, without just a question like, hey, when is this due? Hi, how are you? So I like for you to model netiquette. And really, this is just common sense stuff. I like greetings and closings in emails. Anytime I send you a message or send you comments, I will always sign those comments. I will always greet you. And so I just like the same thing to come back to me. When it comes to engaging with classmates, I'm really just looking for evidence of common courtesy. We will be critiquing one another's writing, and so I'm not asking you not to be critical. You absolutely can be critical, but I'm looking for kind and helpful and thoughtful phrasing as you do that. These are things that I'm sure you understand, but I want you to know up front, it's important to me. And just to give you a little bit about my background, information about my background. So I'm a graduate of the University of Illinois at Springfield. I was a Capital Scholar there. there as an undergraduate. My degrees as an undergrad were in English and communication. I actually teach both of those subjects here at John Wood, and I loved being a college student, loved it. And so after I was finished with those first 2 degrees, I pursued a master's degree at UIS in English. And so while I was finishing that degree, I started working full-time at Culver Stockton College, which is a small private school that's located in Canton, Missouri. I still work for them. I have switched over from college administration, which is where I began my career there a long time ago, and I've moved into teaching. So I teach English and communication classes for them, just like I do here at John Wood. While I was getting a start in my teaching career at Culver, I was still a full-time administration person, and I was just teaching 1 class a semester, but I found that that's really what I was looking forward to the most, was being in the classroom and seeing my students and teaching every day. And so I decided to start a PhD program in educational leadership at the University of the Cumberlands, and that's a program that's based in Williamsburg, Kentucky. And so that's a program that I finished all the coursework for. I'm nearly finished with my dissertation, but it's absolutely been a great experience. It's helped me to become a better and a more enthusiastic and polished college level instructor, and that's what I wanted from that program. And so who knows, maybe I'll even finish that PhD at the semester and you can start calling me Dr. HK, which is really weird. It sounds really weird to me. But anyway, so that's what I've been working on. I also have pursued a second master's degree in communication, so English and communication undergrad degrees and master's degrees, in addition to this PhD work that I'm doing in leadership. So I'm teaching now at Culver Stockton, at John Wood Community College, and also at QU. And so I have lots and lots of students. I have lots and lots of classes that I'm teaching, but what students can expect from me is for me to be responsive and enthusiastic and encouraging and helpful and high energy, and that's really what defines my teaching style and makes me maybe a little bit different from others that you've had in class before. So that's my promise to you. I like to keep super busy. I need streamlined communication for my students, but really you'll find that I'm helpful, I'm responsive, I get back to you quickly, and if there's a question or a problem, you'll find me to be empathetic and understanding to a point. I have high expectations for my students, and I think that's part of the reason why we get along so well. I really like the challenge of bringing students who are new to me into class and helping them to gain skills and be able to do things that they weren't able to do at the beginning of the course. So that's the thrill of teaching. That's why I love what I do, blah, blah, blah. So let's keep it moving. Some personal notes about me. You're seeing a picture of my husband, Dr. Scott Giltner. He's photographed here at the foot of the Pacora volcano. I think this is somewhere in Guatemala. He is obviously ridiculously handsome, but in addition to that, he's also an academic. He's a professor. He teaches at Culver Stockton College. This is like his 13th or 14th year of being a professor there, and he loves it. That's where we met and fell in love, blah, blah, blah. He's an adventurer, obviously, per the photo that you're seeing here. He frequently travels with students internationally, and that's part of the passion that he has in his teaching career. So we don't have human children, but we have these fluffy little guys right here. You're seeing Gus and Bitsy, our 2 older cats who are both 5, and Lucy, who is 3, pictured below. Actually, this is maybe an older picture of Lucy because Lucy is huge. She's a real big kitty. Anyway, this is a rabbit hole I could fall down and just start telling cat stories. So I'm going to keep it moving and move on to the next slide. But I just wanted you to see like a little bit about me as a human, as a person, and not just as your professor and how I grade and how my brain works. So here's a little bit about me. I live in Quincy. I grew up in Quincy. I'm a QHS grad. I won't tell you what year. I'm going to let you figure that out on your own, or not at all would be my preference. And so yeah, so here's how I like to communicate with you. Like I said, students will find me to be very responsive when they have questions, when they need clarification on something, when they have a problem, anything like that. I would say that the best way to reach me is to send me an email. So hekeller@jwcc.edu is my email address. I will also, when I give you a tour of the course page, show you just how easy it is to send me direct messages, which come to me in both Canvas and this address, my John Wood email inbox. Sending me messages through Canvas is super, super easy. And so that may also be your preferred method of contact. Since those messages that you send in Canvas come to both my email and my Canvas account, students may find that I'm a little bit more responsive in terms of time to messages sent through Canvas than to email. But email is great. I check it multiple times a day. I tell you in the syllabus that it's reasonable to expect me to return your email within 24 to 48 hours. Usually I will respond in less time than that. Usually 24 hours is more than enough time for me to respond to you. But do be mindful of weekends and times when I might be traveling. So it might take up to 2 days for me to get back to you, but most students will find that if you send me a quick question, I can get back to you pretty quickly. I also invite you to Skype with me or to use Zoom or FaceTime if there are things that you would like to talk about face-to-face. You don't want to type something in a big long email, or you have something that you'd like to discuss virtually, but more in person than through email. We can absolutely do that. So my Skype username is listed there. If you'd like to go ahead and add me, you may do so. I also have left a landline telephone number because I don't work full-time at John Wood, and because I don't have an office at John Wood, I like for you to have some phone number where you can reach me. This is a landline that we have at home. We don't use it very often, but that's why it's easy for me to use it for student phone calls. So if you call me, you can call me during the day. I usually am sort of running around teaching hither and yon at Culver or at QU or on campus at John Wood. And so if you call me during the day, it will also forward onto my cell phone. So you can call me anytime. And I'm an early riser, so if you call early, that's fine. But I would ask that you not call after 9 p.m. I turn back into, this coach turns back into a pumpkin not long after 9 p.m. each night. And so I really appreciate no late night phone calls. And just be mindful that because this is a landline, this is not a number that you can send text messages to. So just be aware of that. But preferred method of contact is messaging through Canvas or sending me email. So let's take a peek at our course page. So I'm going to get out of this and show you what our course page looks like. So, okay, hang on just a second. Let's go back to the dashboard. So obviously, if you found this link to this video, you've already sort of gone in and navigated this far in Canvas to access this item. But when you log in, your dashboard, which may look a little bit different than mine, will have the courses that you are registered in during this term. I have multiple sections of English 102, so there's ITA and ITD this semester. If I'm reusing this video and recycling it, it might be called something else, but if you just find your Rhetoric and Composition 2 course that's on your dashboard and visit it, it'll pull up our homepage. I'm going to switch to student view because it does look a little bit different on my end than it does on yours, but now you should be seeing what you normally will see each time you log in. So it'll bring you to our homepage. This usually won't change. I'll leave it the same all through the semester. It's just sort of a place to land. Announcements are moved up toward the top. So just before you dive into modules and get started, just check here for announcements. This is also a good point in this video for me to mention that the Canvas app for students is great. And it will send, I think it sends push notifications that are announcements or other things. Maybe when I grade something or comment on something that you've submitted as an assignment in the course, it'll send you those notifications to your phone. So you may want to go ahead and download that app, which is free for you to use. You just log in with your John Wood information and you'll be able to access some aspects of the course on your phone. Now, I wouldn't suggest trying to upload assignments or participate in discussion boards or things like that, messing with files and whatever from your phone. Use a PC or a Mac or another device to do that. But there is a lot that you can do via Canvas with that student app. So I would say it's worth a download. But anyway, there are announcements. If I've posted any, you'll find those here. And then I've really worked hard to streamline the course and make things very, very easy for you to find. And so I've organized things into modules, and each week has its own designated module. And you will find that our modules that are not in use are kind of laying dormant until it's time for them to be activated and to come to life and for you to do stuff with them. So as you cycle through, and by the way, you can collapse these and expand these. So one of the things that I found that students who are using Canvas really like to do is when they're finished with all of the items in the week, they like to collapse that bad boy. And then they never have to look at those assignments again. Of course, you can always go back and surf through modules that you've already completed if you want to go back and look at a previous discussion or revisit a Dropbox and download again the file that you've uploaded and submitted you can always do those things, but sometimes it makes things easier to surf, especially as we get into the later weeks of the course, like week 12 and so on, that you're not surfing through weeks 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 and so on until you get to the current week. So you can expand and collapse these as you like, but you can see that some of our modules are sleeping. And so they will wake up typically at 12:01 a.m. early on Monday of that week. So I think August 27th is a Monday. That sounds right to me. So anyway, this will become available right as soon as August 27th is the active day on your calendar. And so this does prevent students from working ahead. You'll see that in each of the modules that I've created for every single week, there's a checklist. And the checklist moves through Canvas, all of the items that you need to complete in this class with the exception of reading assignments. Those are going to be specified in the assignment schedule. That's a document that's just independent, and it's also a document that's embedded in your course syllabus, so it's actually in 2 different places. In addition to that, any assignments that are valued with points, because reading assignments don't have points, but when you complete assignments like quizzes or exams or papers, all of those are also embedded in Canvas. So you're going to get a lot of reminders through Canvas to help you figure out what you need to do, but I'm telling you, it doesn't include everything. And so you're going to want to make sure that you refer to things like these checklists that I've created for you to make sure that you're also completing the 0-point assignments that work up and figure into your progress in the course. So what I've done each week is I've given you all of the things that you need to do. I've also organized them chronologically. So I really would start with the first task that's due and then move down. They are organized in the order in which they should be completed by due dates. And then also in a lot of these checklists, I'll leave notes. If you would like to work ahead, these are some things that I would recommend that you're doing. So let's just say, let's take a peek at the week 2 checklist. Maybe I've left some notes there about, oh, it wants me to leave because it doesn't want to show you this. Okay, well, we'll pretend that I'm me because I can see everything in this course. So here we go. Here's week 2. Here's the checklist. What's nice about Canvas is that all of the documents, prompts for assignments, anything that is a Word document, it will automatically pull up in this nice preview window. Now, of course, you can download it. You may find that printing these checklists is helpful for you. You might also find it really satisfying when you've completed all of these tasks that you can highlight them or strike through them or whatever makes you feel accomplished as you complete each of these tasks. I'm just talking about things that I would do. I'm a to-do list maker, and so I find nothing more satisfying than crossing something off my to-do list emphatically. But anyway, so it will show you these preview windows, and here we go. So I've left you some notes. Here's what's happening in week 2. These are all items that you need to complete, and they're all listed in order of sequence. So you really should start with the first item and then complete the second, and so on. If you get to the end of week 2 and you are just so pumped and you just want to keep going and like, put me in, coach, I really want to keep working on things in 102, good for you. Here's some things you can work on. So I've left you some notes if you do want to work ahead, but this is not a correspondence course. This is not a course that you just complete at your own pace, and as long as you're finished with it by the end of the semester, you get the grade you've earned. This is a course where we move together. We discuss together, we develop these 2 research papers that we're working on together, and we do that gradually throughout the course. So that's why our modules are organized as they are. Now, if you're going to be on vacation or you're going to be out of the office or something's going on and you would like me to open a module early for you, I probably can do that. So you can just send me a message or an email if you would like me to do that for you. So anyway, let's go back and to student view. So just to recap, I'm offering you individual modules for each week of class. I'm giving you within those modules a checklist that you can use to make sure that you're completing all the reading assignments, all the quizzes, everything I'm expecting you to do, whether it's worth points or not, is all included in that checklist. Our modules open at 12:01 a.m. each week beginning on Monday. Okay, you can always check your grades, and also you can use Office 365. So Office 365 is a Microsoft product. You may already have Office on your device, and that's great. You do not need to pay for it. You already have Office 365 available to you because you're a John Wood student. You can access it here through our course, or you can access it when you log into BlazerNet. So when you log into BlazerNet, it gives you those icons of different places that you can go. You can go to Canvas or email or Solar. Office 365 is one of those options. I'm being emphatic about Office 365 because I need you to submit your assignments in .doc or .docx format, and that's important especially as we get into activities that we do like peer review for your research essays. So I want you to be using some word processor that uses .doc or .docx. That's the standard file format for anything that you're creating in Microsoft Word. So Office 365 gives you access to Word. It will automatically create the files that you need to submit as your assignments within that software. Now, if you're using something like Google Docs, you can convert those files to .docs or .docx's. You can also use Pages if you're a Mac user, but I can't open something in Pages format because I'm a dinosaur and I still use a PC. And most of the world uses .docs and .docx's are fairly standard formats. So if you submit something in Pages, you're going to have a 0 for that assignment. If you submit something as an RTF or a PDF, you're not going to receive credit for that assignment. So figure out how, with the technology that you have, how you're going to format your assignments that you turn in English 102 as .doc or .docx files. Our Dropboxes will only accept .doc or .docx files. You can do that without spending any money or subscribing at all to additional Microsoft products. You already have it through Office 365. You may need to take some time to play around with Office 365. It might look a little bit different than the versions of Word that you've used previously, but anyway, that's what it is. If you need some technological assistance, either navigating Canvas or using Office 365 through BlazerNet, call the help desk. Those folks are really helpful and will be able to walk you through that. So those are the things that you can access through our course specifically. Your grades are here. You'll see that I'm fairly responsive and I like to stay on top of grading. Some of the things will grade themselves, so you may finish a quiz, and if it's not something that I have to look at, then it will grade itself, and you'll see that grade posted as soon as you've completed that item. Otherwise, there might just be certain parts of quizzes that I need to go in and eyeball to finalize your score. But you'll find that I do those things pretty quickly. When you turn in research essays, those are the 2 major assignments in this course, you'll find that I usually need about 2 weeks to grade those, but usually the items that you submit just routinely throughout the course, I'll grade those within 7 days of receiving them, which I think is pretty good, a pretty good timeline for responding to feedback. When it comes to things like progressive assignments that build up to the final draft of your research papers, things like working bibliographies, topic proposals, and other smaller assignments that help you to work up toward completing the research essays, I'll probably be able to provide provide you with feedback in a lot less than 1 week. So there's that, just so you know, but that's a good tour of our course page. Here's the inbox feature in Canvas. So if you pull that up, you can navigate to a place where you can send me a message. It will tag and let me know that you're in my Composition 2 ITA or ITD class. When you do send me emails, I'd appreciate it if you let me know which of these sections you're in, because I do have multiple sections of English 102 this semester. So just let me know that you're in English 102 ITA, English 102 ITD, whichever applies to you. So there's that. Back to my notes for my PowerPoint to keep us going. Okay, so English 102, what's the course all about? Really, this is an introduction to research writing. So if you've been placed in 102, it means that either at John Wood or somewhere else you've completed the first of 2 composition courses that are required for you to earn your degree. So your enrollment in English 102 tells me that you are already familiar with college level writing and vocabulary and mechanics and structure. So you already know how to write papers because you've done that in another college level writing course. Now that you're here in English 102, we are introducing a research component to that. So we are introducing you to using academic tone, using MLA, citing sources, finding sources, evaluating sources, using them well, being mindful of how you can construct an academic argument without using fallacy. And so this is really, it's absolutely a writing intensive course, just like English 101 or its equivalent if you've taken it elsewhere outside of John Wood. But the thing we're building in here is research and citation. So that's what we're adding in. You'll find that if you are moving on into a 4-year degree, or you're going to be taking courses for your area of study that require research, this is an excellent class to prepare you for that. This might be review. Parts of this course might be review for some of you. A lot of students have had experience, or at least some experience, in conducting research and evaluating research and using research as they write. And some students have had some exposure to MLA style before and using it, and that's great, and that can be helpful in this class. If that's not you, if you've never written a research paper, or it's been 10 years, or you used APA but not MLA, don't worry about it. Everything you're going to need to know about research and writing and using citation style, the MLA citation style, we're going to cover all of that here in class. We have a good amount of time to get through all that. So that's what the course is all about. In terms of important course policies, I'm going to let you look through the syllabus on your own. The syllabus is in the course documents module that's on our Canvas course. So all of these documents are easy to find. I've already recommended that you print out the syllabus. I just want to echo that again. Make sure that you do read it. You don't need to read it and memorize it. You don't need to be exhaustive with it, but you do need to be familiar with course policies. Familiarize yourself with late work. For small assignments that are worth fewer points, I'm just going to, when you turn them in late, I'm going to just give you half credit at best. And so be aware of that. When you have major assignments like the research papers or other assignments that are more point heavy in class, you really, you're still going to lose a lot of points, 20% for every day that it's late. Generally, I won't accept any assignments if they are more than 4 days late. So 4 days is the maximum amount of time, but the greatest percentage of points you can earn when it is that late is 20%, which is not a passing grade on that assignment. So just be aware of that. You can turn in late work in this class, but I wouldn't recommend it, and I certainly wouldn't make a habit of it. So I'm providing you with a lot of resources up front to let you know and be very clear about these are the assignments, this is when they're due, this is how many points they're worth, and the rest in terms of completing it is up to you. Now, in terms of course policies when it comes to technology, in signing up for English 102 at John Wood Community College, what you're saying is that you have continual access to the internet the kind of internet that you need to have to take an online course, i.e. high-speed internet, and you have reliable technology to complete these assignments. So having computer problems, connection issues, it doesn't prevent your work from being late. That's for you. That's your issue to make sure that you have those things. Now, of course, you can come to campus. You can come to any of our locations, and you can use the technology that we have available while we're open. And I think that we do a great job of making technology accessible to students. And if you want to go to the Southeastern Education Center that's in Pittsfield and you want to do your work there, awesome. If you want to go to campus in Quincy and do your work there, cool. All of the things that you need to do coursework are provided to you at any of our centers. The Ag Center, Mount Sterling, all of these areas will have what you need in order to do the work that you need to complete for 102. If you choose to go it alone and use internet at home, if you don't pay your internet bill, if your internet cuts out, your work that you don't turn in is going to be late. I also want to be pretty emphatic about telling you that when you wait until the last minute to turn something in, and then there's some sort of a tech issue that hiccups at the end and it makes your work 5 minutes late, it was due at midnight, but you turn it in at 12:07, yeah, it's still late. So one of the great things about an online class, maybe the thing that made you sign up for an online class, is that this is a flexible workspace, that you can work on things when it's convenient for you and you can turn them in really whenever you want. And so because you have a lot of information about what's expected of you, when it's due, how many points it's valued at, and as soon as that module for that week opens on Monday, you can turn it in anytime. If you wait until the very, very last minute to submit an item, or you miss the deadline and you turn it in late, that's on you. You need to expect to lose points for that. In addition to late work, there are specific formatting guidelines that I want you to follow for documents. So they need to be .doc and .docx. We've been over that already. But there are also additional things that I want you to do to format your papers. I've given you an example in course modules. And what I would do is download from the course documents module the example that I've shown you for what assignments should look like. All assignments need to be typed and double spaced. All of your assignments need to have your first and last name and today's date, the name of the assignment, the name of the course in within that document, and there's a specific way I want you to do it. Make sure that you follow that. So it's very clear for me to understand by the time we get to week 2 and you start submitting typed assignments, I know which students have watched this welcome video and which ones haven't, because when you send in something and it's not double spaced, or you haven't indented your paragraphs, or your name is not on your work, yeah, I know that you haven't been here watching this video. The last policy that I want to talk about is plagiarism. Please make sure that you read the section of the syllabus that talks about plagiarism and academic dishonesty. And I don't want to make, you probably are noticing that my tone just shifted. Every semester, I have students that receive a failing grade in this class because they do not do their own original work. And there really is no reason for you to cut corners. I will show you how to use source material in a way that is appropriate to make sure that you are not plagiarizing by accident. But it's usually not that type of student that ends up failing this course for academic dishonesty or plagiarism. It's your responsibility to learn how to do this, and saying, I didn't know I was supposed to do. That's what this course is designed to do, to teach you how to responsibly and ethically use source material. But if you submit a paper that you've submitted for another class here, or someone else has submitted that same paper previously, whether it's in this class or another class here or at another college, a high school paper, even if you're revamping it, don't do it. You can plagiarize yourself. You can plagiarize other people. And every semester, there are broken hearts about not having submitted your own original work, and you will fail the class. I just want to let you know, if you submit, and it's not like a 3 strikes and you're out policy. The first time you submit something in this class that's plagiarized, I don't care if it's a research essay that's worth 25% of your grade, or it's some small assignment that's worth 5% of your grade, you will fail the course. You won't be able to withdraw. You won't get your money back. You will fail the course. And I know that I'm sounding scarier than I really want to right now, but save yourself a broken heart. If in the 11th hour you have not completed an assignment and you need more time, just turn it in late and do your own work. Don't buy an essay online. Don't borrow an essay from someone else. Don't take something that you've written before and turn it in. We're using turnitin.com as a way for us to vet the originality of student work, and it's very effective. Even if you didn't turn your paper in when you submitted it somewhere else and now you're resubmitting it or trying to in this class for credit, Turnitin will catch it. It'll catch it. And it's just really sophisticated software, and I don't know why I go through this with students every semester. Do your own original work. I cannot be more insistent on it. So, okay, now that that conversation is over, and I know that everybody's going to do their own work, because I'd rather read your own work anyway. I don't care what someone else who you paid to write an essay, I don't care about their thoughts. I care about your thoughts. I want to know what you think. I want to know how you write. So turn in your own original work, please. Textbooks. Okay, Super Freakonomics. This is not an error. I know a lot of students walk into the bookstore and they see that for English 102, an economics textbook is required. This is no error. And I can't make promises, because I can't promise in general as a human that people are going to love things, but students in 102 are surprised at how interesting they find Super Freakonomics to be. There was the Freakonomics film you might have already seen. It was on Hulu for a while. I think it's still on Hulu, and it was on Netflix for a while, and or Amazon. I can't remember. But it's interesting. This is the second version of this. So Levitt and Dubner wrote Freakonomics a number of years ago, and then this is the follow-up, and people find it just fascinating. So we're going to be discussing this and using this as we learn about research in the beginning of the course. If you don't already have this text, get it quickly, because we are going to jump in and start reading and discussing it right away. And also, this is a pretty cheap book. There's tons of used copies that are available. You don't need a new copy of this, and I wouldn't bother renting it. I would get it so that you can mark in it, etc., etc. So that's Super Freakonomics. Another required text, you may have this if you've already been in English 101. This is a bigger version because it's an instructor version. Yours is probably like a more petite version of this, but the Little Brown Handbook, 12th edition. There are newer editions that have updated MLA, but this is the 12th and we're still using it now, and this is great. We really are going to be using this more as a handbook than as a textbook in the class, meaning I'm expecting you to use this as a reference guide as you're writing, because it's really easy to navigate and has good advice on how you can put papers together. But we will be discussing some of these specific chapters in our discussions in class. So just be mindful of that. So another text is Advancing Vocabulary Skills. You'll see that I'm holding up the 4th edition. We've now moved to the 5th. If you have bought the 4th edition, that's okay. There really is only one teeny tiny difference between the 4th and the 5th edition of this text, and that is in chapter 29, there is one word in the 4th edition, the word promiscuous, and it's been replaced with another word. But other than that, the chapters that we're using, we're picking up with chapter 19, and we're finishing the last 2 units of this book. So if you took 101 at John Wood, you've already looked at chapters 1 through 18, the first 3 units, and we're finishing units 4 and 5 in the text now. If you have taken English 101 or its equivalent elsewhere, and you're taking 102 with us, you're only going to be using the last 2 units in this textbook. You do need to purchase it new. The best way that you can prepare for quizzes is to complete the series of exercises that are associated with each chapter. So there's that. And then the last textbook that is required is this MLA handbook, and this is the handbook that's been designed for MLA 8. This is the current version of MLA that we're using. You may have learned MLA using version 7, and version 8 is significantly different and better, I think, and I'll explain my rationale for that belief as we get into our study of MLA. This you can buy used. The Little Brown Handbook you can have used. You can rent these and send them back. If you would like to use digital copies of these if they're available. I don't think a digital copy of the vocab book is available, and that makes sense. I think you need to use it as a workbook, but everything else, you can use used versions. Those are fine. Either the 4th or 5th edition of Advancing Vocabulary Skills by Nish will work. So for required textbooks, we are going to use all 4 of them pretty quickly. So make sure that if you haven't already acquired your textbooks, do that as soon as you can. A note on working ahead, I've already kind of talked about this, and so I won't go back over it again. What else did I want to say? Let's skip on to, for students, sometimes when you enroll in this class with me, it's the first time that you've taken an online course, or you may be new to a college environment, even though this is Comp 2. Maybe you took Comp 1 in high school. A lot of students do that. And so I just kind of like to lay out some good general strategies for success that will apply both here in this class setting for 102 online, and I think that they are applicable to other classes that you might be taking this semester or will take in the future. So let me just kind of walk through these quickly. The first thing I think is really important is that you need to make time for this class. So you may have a blend of classes in your schedule, some that you go to campus for, some that you show up for, and you're there learning from an instructor live, and then you have classes like this that are entirely online. You need to make sure that you're budgeting time for this class because a lot of students will try and just kind of sit down in one sitting and do everything that you need to do for this class every week. And at least maybe that works for other online courses, but this is an online course that I've designed that requires you to log in daily or every other day. There are multiple assignments that are due, and you need to start working on them at the beginning of the week, and you'll have multiple assignments that are due throughout the course of the week. And so I expect you to be regularly logging in, looking for your messages, reviewing the items that I've graded for you, and evaluating that feedback. You need to be here on a continual basis, and you need to make time for this. I think that if you're organizing yourself well, I think that students who are really successful in this class will look for a pocket of time in their schedule across multiple days. So maybe on Monday, okay, so on Monday I like to sit down and I like to do the vocab activities and I like to complete the reading assignments. Then on Wednesday I like to go in and I like to create my discussion posts. And then I like to go in on Friday and kind of finish up everything that I need to complete for that week in class. You can do it in a number of different ways, and it depends on your schedule. I have students that are parents, I have students that work multiple jobs, I have students that work night shift, and there's a way for you to figure it out. So make sure you figure that out sooner than later, though, because you need to make sure that you get yourself into a routine with this class and hold yourself accountable to the routine that you create. Also, we have 2 major assignments in this class. You'll hear me refer to them as IRP and ARP. The IRP is the first research paper that we'll begin working on in this class, and we'll be working on it through midterm, so weeks 1 through 8. And the IRP, that's just an acronym for Informative Research Paper. And then we'll transition after midterm and we'll compose the ARP, the Argumentative Research Paper. So in the first half of class, we're just learning how to inform an audience about a topic using research that we've conducted. We amp it up by adding in a persuasive, argumentative element with the ARP. So you'll hear me using a lot of acronyms. DB is discussion board, IRP is informative research paper, ARP is argumentative research paper. But these are assignments that you need to be working on gradually throughout the course. And you'll see when you look at the prompts for the IRP and the ARP that there are a number of smaller assignments that sort of build up to the full draft of the IRP and ARP. Don't skip those, because once you've skipped those, that's an important process in a sequence of assignments that lead you to a completed research paper. So really, make sure that you don't leave things to the last minute and don't skip those smaller assignments. You'll really regret it, not just point-wise because those are assignments and they're worth points, but also they really will leave you at a loss for completing the IRP and or ARP successfully. I've already talked about plagiarism and given you the lecture. do your work honestly and do your work with integrity. Do the best work that you can do in this course. Don't cut corners. Don't wait to the last minute and submit something that you're not proud of. And because I can tell the difference. I've been doing this long enough that I can tell the difference. Take your time to do the best work that you can. Part of taking your time means setting yourself up in a workspace, whether that's at home, whether that's one of the JWCC campuses, and giving yourself an opportunity to do the best work that you can. This means that if you have little ones at home, you may need to do the work that you need to do on this class when they're in bed or while they're at school, or where you're not going to be distracted. I can't really do a whole lot for students who complete a quiz and for some reason they access it on their phone through Canvas, and then they get interrupted because they're at work when they're trying to take a quiz. Like, don't do that. Don't try and take a quiz when you're going to be interrupted. Don't respond to discussion posts when you only have 5 minutes between two different tasks that you're doing at home. Make sure that you're in a situation where you can sit down and focus and spend the time that you need to do the kind of work that you need to do. I'm forever seeing there, in terms of data, I see a strong correlation with particularly vocab quiz scores in this class for students that spend more time on them than less. So students that will blitz through a quiz really quickly and they'll finish it in 5-6 minutes, their scores are much lower than students that will finish one in 20 or 25 minutes. And I give you more time than I think you realistically need. So just make sure that you're prepared to sit down and don't rush yourself. I don't think that it's the time limits on the quiz that I'm creating that have negative consequences. I think you sometimes rush yourself through these items. So take your time. Review the feedback and the comments that I give you on your assignments. This is important because sometimes students will not read those comments. If you're losing points, I'm explaining why, so that you don't do it again. And so that I don't have to keep typing to you week after week that this needs to be formatted in a certain way, or that you lost points because you didn't do this or you didn't do that, whatever. I want you to review that feedback and those comments, particularly on the IRP, because if you make a mistake on your IRP or your 2 draft sections or something like that, I'm pointing it out. You will lose points again for the same thing on future assignments if you don't review that feedback and those comments. It takes me a long time to really thoughtfully grade and respond to what you submit in this class, so please take the time to review feedback and comments. Canvas makes it really easy for you to access these items, and the Canvas app can even alert you that I've issued a comment that you need to look at. Make sure that you follow through and do that. We've already talked about the penalties for late work in this class. I would say that if a few times you submit something late, okay, it's not going to have a huge impact unless it's a major assignment, in which case, yeah, it will have an impact on your grade. But I wouldn't make it a habit. Also, you need to know that quizzes are items that once they close, they're closed. And so make sure that you are prepared to submit your quizzes on time, because once that deadline passes, you don't make up quizzes. It'll just be zeroed out in the grade book. Lastly, ask questions. This is a class that will really just fly by. There's something about this semester that always just flies by really quickly. And I know that you have a lot going on at home, at life, at work, at school, with other classes that you're in. So make sure that you just look alive in this class. Make sure that you're looking through the documents that you need to be reviewing each week and following along. Don't fall behind in this class. But if you do, or if you're looking at the items that have been assigned to you for that week and you're not sure if you're on the right track, or you're not sure that you understand something, just ask. It's super quick and easy for you to hit that inbox icon on Canvas on our course page and ask me a quick question that I can get back to you quickly. Let me clarify. If you have questions or if you need help, let me clarify something before you do an assignment but you don't do it correctly, or you don't satisfy the challenge of the assignment. Make sure that if you have questions about the class, about policy, about what I'm asking you to do, about a particular assignment, about something that I've graded, ask questions. I'll get back to you. I'll be responsive to you. But sometimes students get frustrated in this class because they don't they need more clarification on what I'm expecting them to do or what the challenge of the assignment really is. And I can be super helpful at the beginning of that process when that question first pops up. If you don't ask about it and you just keep wrestling with an assignment that you don't really understand, you may not do well, and I can't help you. I can only solve problems that I know exist. And so communicate with me about the questions that you have, and you should be great. So I think I went on a little longer. Sorry, it was a little longer than I intended to, but I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that this also helps you to feel more confident about how this class is going to work. And so please let me know if you continue to have questions as you look through the syllabus, as you look through all of the course documents that I've prepared for you. If there are things that I can do that will be helpful to you as you get going in 102, you know how to get a hold of me. You can send me an email, you can send me a message in Canvas, but overall, please know, it really can't be overstated that I am very excited to be teaching this class this semester. I'm very glad to have you in class. A number of you have had class with me before, and so you're just coming back to me for another good time. And so let me know how I can be helpful to you. Send me messages, send me emails. Be nice when you do those things. Do good work in this class, and it's going to be a great experience. Yeah. Prior to taking the syllabus quiz, if there's anything that you want me to clarify about this course, policies, anything in terms of my expectations, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your good attention. I hope you enjoyed the snack that you just made for yourself. And let's have a great semester in English 102.